Hello, uh, viewers. The few people who watch these videos. I thought I might do a analysis or my little review or thoughts on a film that I've recently seen, and it's one that just came out this year called The Substance, and it stars Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid is in it for a smaller role, but the director is a French woman, and could be considered it's horror, it's body horror, it's also science fiction, it's also has a lot of inner psychological turmoil and also critique of society and the views of the I guess you could say Hollywood and the entertainment industry itself, and aging and loss of relevance. It's about Demi Moore is this actress named Elizabeth Sparkle, and it's her 50th birthday, and then she's the host of this aerobics show. What was the name of that show? I can't quite remember, but she ends up getting fired by the producer, Dennis Quaid, who's this rather obnoxious, sleazy producer who looking for someone younger and more attractive, and so she's fired from her job, and after being fired, she's driving down the road, and you see the sign, the billboard for her show, and there are workers, and they rip her face off the billboard, and she's distracted by this and gets into a car accident where it turns out there's no serious bodily harm or damage, but this younger male nurse tells her she looks like a perfect candidate and gives her this USB drive, which she later watches, and it's for this product called The Substance, which is supposed to bring about a new, enhanced version of yourself, which first she throws away and then later ends up digging it back out of the trash and calling the number. And It's very weird how you get this substance. You go, they provide an address, and it's in this alleyway, and they have like the address is just graffiti over a sort of steel, we call it like storage door. To press a button outside, it doesn't even open all the way, so you have to climb a little bit under to get into this almost seedy underground facility. And you just go, find yourself in this room with these different sort of just very sterile white room with these cabinets. You have a little card with your designated number. You get the package. It turns out it's this green serum which you inject. And essentially this younger version of yourself ends up breaking its way out of the old version, or the real self, the old self, the new self. And I guess you kind of had to suspend your beliefs on how this works. You think about a whole body of a late 20s, early 30s woman coming out of Demi Moore would crush all her organs and rib cage and explode her heart and kill that body. But sort of comes out in this escaping hole in Demi Moore's back, and she's just laying there essentially in a sort of coma, which you must, and there's these little packets for 7 days worth of this food, which is basically just soft, what you would give someone who is in the hospital on a feeding tube. And there's this very explicit rules about and protocol that you are this new person, Margaret Qualley, who she plays, whose name's Sue, for 7 days. Then and each day you sort of stabilize, and it's used through the spinal fluid of Demi Moore. And then you go back to being your original self for 7 days. But and this is used to, she ends up applying for her old job, which they've made a new show called Pump It Up, which is more modern and much more, you would say, heavily sexualized than the original show that Demi Moore's character Elizabeth hosted. And of course, the Dennis Quaid character is all happy about this, and this new, attractive woman to be the star of the show. doesn't have to deal with the aging Demi Moore anymore. But the whole 7-day then switch system can be abused, and the younger self eventually starts wanting more time and doesn't want to be Demi Moore. Even though I'm a little bit confused. So we've got two brains, but when Margaret Qualley sort of emerges from the almost like old flesh of the shedded skin of a reptile which molts, you kind of see from her point of view, it seems like it is like the consciousness, the first person perspective is the same, but when they go back, it seems like the memories of each other isn't carried on. So it's almost like a disassociative, multiple identity, multiple personality situation. So I'm trying to figure out how this works, because it's almost like if you don't actually get to experience or be this other new, enhanced, younger person, what exactly is the benefit that you or Demi Moore is attaining? Because when she goes back, when the 7 days are up for Sue, and she's back being Elizabeth, she's in her sort of apartment with the large window overlooking the city, very nice, what would you call it? Studio apartment, flat. She's just sort of moping around the house and very, it's like waiting to go back to being the other. And she'll start indulging and overeating, and so when the Sue comes back, she'll find the apartment all messy and the windows are plastered up, because Demi Moore is now resenting Sue, and keep calling the company of a substance, telling them this, that what they're doing, and then the voice, which is almost like this sort of, not robotic, but almost like the kind of voice you'd hear in like an advertisement for testosterone boosting supplements or something. Is the best way I can describe it. And it's saying, and it keeps reminding her that you are one, and that's in the original sort of promo, or in the And the package, remember you are one. But they can't. They don't have the same lived experiences or connected personality or memory. At least that's how it seems. Anyway, I can explain it. But, eventually, the Sue character they want her to do this New Year's Eve show, so she doesn't want to go to be absent every other week. She just starts, well, first she just does one, a bit of spoiler I guess, one extra night to be with this man she's brought home. Just when the 7 days are up, she starts having almost like bleeding and blurred vision, and you need to either stabilize yourself or go back to being, or switch to be the other self. But then this causes damage to Demi Moore's body, particularly you see her finger has sort of this accelerated aging. It's this very creepy old hag, bony witch finger, and it's only her one pointer finger. It turns out when she calls the company, they say any transformations cannot be reversed. She still wants to be, at this point, she wants to be very self-conscious. Is very about her looks and her appearances. And she decides, I'm not just gonna mope around the house and wait for the next week. I'm going to call this man who she ran into, who gave her his number. They were actually friends in high school, and she wants to go out on a date with him. And then, this is like one of the best scenes, I think. She's all dressed up. She has a dress and a scarf. And of course she's wearing gloves to hide this this deformed, haggard kind of corpse-like finger, but then she keeps going back to the bathroom, looking at her face, putting up more makeup, just looking in the mirror constantly for any sort of imperfections, any wrinkles, lines, crow's feet. And then you finally think, okay, she's done all she can do, but then they put that she can see from her window the billboard of Sue in the new show. And that keeps basically haunting her. And then she looks at herself in the reflection of the doorknob, and it's just. Then she goes back to the bathroom and is trying to fix herself up, and then it just becomes angry and messes up her hair and decides not even to go out on the date. And her phone, you can see text coming up asking if she's alright, is she running late, but she just is sitting on the bed, just in deep sadness over her physical body. And yeah, I think that's one of the best scenes, and you don't just see this in sort of in the entertainment industry. You have so much pressure to always be a certain way, and it's just true that as time passes and you age, you sort of fall out of the limelight. So in the very beginning of the film, you see actually there's like going back to like, I guess maybe it would have been the 90s or so, when they're actually making her Hollywood star for fame, and you see them putting in a name and filling in the concrete, and it's sort of, it's just one continuous shot of the star, but you see like time is passing. First everyone's excited, taking photos, and then more sort of years go by, and a couple are walking across the star, and it's like, I remember that woman, she was in, and then, but he can't quite retrieve what film she was in, and then another guy's just walking by and drops his McDonald's on the star, and there's ketchup splattered all over it, and he's just like trying to clean it up, but it's almost like a foreshadowing of what's happening on the star, what happens to her body, her perception of herself, her mental health, and her, and later as the film progresses, in the Sue new enhanced self keeps taking on more and more spinal fluid. The degeneration and decay of her body. So this is sort of a criticism of Hollywood and the entertainment industry and the music industry, and you could even say the plastic surgery industry. But also I just think the acting is just really great from both of the main leads. There's the ending is just so bizarre. I will not give it away, but let's just say it ends with lots of gore. It's almost like Peter Jackson, Dead Alive homage in a way. And you've got elements of David Cronenberg's The Fly in this film. You've got sort of an addiction angle. I like the cinematography of this film, just the colors, the way it kind of changes, sort of the color palette when she's Sue versus when she's Elizabeth, sort of uncomfortable close-ups, especially of Dennis Quaid. It's sort of this, you don't really see a lot of these sort of high up men in the industry. You get this Harvey Weinstein vibe from him. And when they're in the restaurant near the beginning with him and Elizabeth saying like, we've got to find new blood, and they want the audience wants more attractive, more young, fresh bodies, and he's eating shrimp, and it's all so like nasty, really, but it's really good camera work and angles, and it's almost like juxtaposing the sexes. Men are allowed to age, let themselves go, eat, and gorge themselves. Women have to be perfect, thin. Always look young, always look you have a certain time limit to your relevance in the world, especially the world of entertainment. But yeah. There's also some almost like Requiem for a Dream, Darren Aronofsky, sort of those really quick like shots you see like in Requiem for a Dream, which I haven't seen in several years, but I remember just see like the fluid going up the syringe, and then like the pupils dilating really fast, and so all there's sort of this flash of different images. You get a little bit of that in this film with, well, I remember the Dennis Quaid like lighting, flipping the lighter and lighting the cigar, and or with the substance syringe, filling up, sticking in the spinal cord, which becomes more and more ugly, and the needle harder to get in, and pussy, and just throwing away the extra little plastic like for each day of the 7 days, like these little plastic, almost like a pill container. It holds the fluid, and you dispose of those in a trash can. And yeah. I guess that's all I have to say for now. But I do highly recommend this film. Definitely one of the best I've seen this year. There's a few, not many films I've seen that I liked. I liked Jesse Eisenberg's film A Real Pain. What else did I see this year? Of movies that came out this year. I didn't like Beetlejuice. I guess it's kind of telling that I can't even remember what films I've seen. Gone to the theater to see. I did see that's the 15th anniversary of Coraline, which I like, but that of course is not a 2024 film. Yeah. So, if you stayed this long, thanks for watching, and have a good day or night.